You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. And now, it's time for the show that breaks down the options market from unusual activity alerts to market analysis, strategy overviews, listener questions, and much more. If it involves puts and calls, then our all-star panel will break it down. It's time to hit the Option Block with your host, Mark Longo from the Options Insider Media Group, and co-hosts Uncle Mike Tosaw from St. Charles Wealth Management, along with Mark the Greasy Meatball Sebastian and Andrew the Rock Lobster Giovinazzi from OptionPit.com. And now, get ready to hit the Option Block.
All right, everybody. That music means we are back. It is time to rock out with everyone's favorite bi-weekly options extravaganza, known around the globe as the Option Block. My name, of course, Mark Longo from theoptionsinsider.com, as well as from the network upon which all of you folks are binging. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you're ready to rock here on the network. A lot of great content coming to you this week, including, get ready, those of you on the pro side, maybe if you got some questions, we can get you folks in there as well. What is it? Yes, the debate of the century. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. The mother of all vol battles out there. Yes, Mr. Vixologist versus Dr. Vix. There can be only one. Join us tomorrow, theoptionsinsider.com/pro if you want to listen live, if you want to submit some questions. If there's time around the heated, contentious vol battle, maybe we'll squeeze in a few of your questions as well. You want to check this one out. It's a good one. So stay tuned for that. If you want to participate in that, theoptionsinsider.com/pro. This is the kind of cool stuff you get to do if you're hanging out there on the pro. You also get oddities. You also get pro Q&A we did last week with some guy called Uncle Mike. I don't know. You may have heard of him. And then, of course, all sorts of other fun stuff. Awesome giveaways. Congrats to Madam Gigi. She is now part of the ultra exclusive club that have won a pro trading crate. Theoptionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go to get in there soon if you want to be part of this vol battle extraordinary. I don't know if there will ever be another one. I don't know if anyone will survive. So you want to get in there now while the getting is good. Be there for tomorrow. It's going to be a good time. TheOptionsInsider.com/pro is the place to go as we go around the horn. See who's joining us today. First, to the hinterlands of Chicago. We go out to the lands of St. Charles, where we are joined once again by the uncleist of Mikes, Uncle Mike Tosaw. No time for him, though, because we keep on rolling right on out to the shores of Maine, where we are joined by the rockingest of lobsters, Mr. Andrew Giovinazzi from OptionPit.com. I introduced them quickly, listeners, because it's time. They're not ready for small talk now. They are dialed in. They are angry. Their fingers are poised on the button because it is time, listeners, for the 80s Trivia Challenge. Here we go. All right. The music is playing. The hands are on the buzzers. I think I know what he's going to guess, but as our current reigning loser, Mr. Uncle Mike, you get to choose your color. What are you feeling for this week, sir?
I'm still going for sports and leisure,
right,
but I'm going with the assumption that you're going to actually give us a new question and something fair and equitable, because these have been unfair questions, I'm afraid.
I'm just going to say, looking at this card, this question was obviously written in the 80s, but it is not about the 80s. So you guys have made your own bed. Now you must lie in it. We're going to Orange, listeners, sports and leisure. What woman won the only gold medal for the U.S. at the 1968 Winter Olympics?
The skater, the ice skater, Peggy Fleming.
Wow. Oh, wow. Rock Lobster. No need for bonus half-point questions. Holy crap. Uncle Mike, he is taking you to the woodshed and back.
1960s women's figure skating. This does not have the same relevance as 80s professional wrestling.
I'm a figure skating enthusiast. What can I say?
Wow.
Figure skating enthusiast. It's almost worth it just to see Tosaw's face in this.
It's going to derail me. Listeners, we should put this out.
It's like a gift.
We should put this out as a video show just so you could see the slow recognition dawn on Andrew's face as he worked through it. He got there a little bit at a time. He's like, wait, the figure skate.
I wouldn't have gotten that one in a million years.
I could have given you 50. I'm with you, Uncle Mike. I wouldn't have probably gotten that one either. So there you go, Rock Lobster. Wow. And just so you could
I want the listeners to know that hell has truly frozen over, the sun is upside down, and life is not normal. What is the current standings in this?
And you can see I am putting it in the middle, so it will not be guessed to get used again until we get through many hundreds of other cards. So there we go. Now we are safe from a repeat of Peggy Fleming. The standings are you are whooping his tox. I don't have the exact numbers here, and I'll have to add them up. But I think you were a 4.5, and he was, and then he had a half point, and then he was like 2.5 or something. I'll have to go look and see. The producers will add it up for us. But yeah, it's obviously you are even a point farther ahead right now, sir. So there you go. Wow. All we needed to do was get to the 1960s Winter Olympics, and who knew? Rock Lobster tearing it up. Wow. Did you have that one? I'm not ashamed to admit I did not. There's a lot of trivia I can get. I don't know, the 68 Winter Olympics, not exactly up my alley. But you know what is up my alley? It's a trading block. So let's get there now.
It's time to break down the latest topics, trades, and trends in the world of options. It's time for the Trading Block.
Welcome to the Trading Block. Our chat is feeling for you, Uncle Mike. They're saying they need something to happen in the wrestling world for you to make some bonus points. But it has to be 80s trivia. There you go. Our chat is suitably impressed, Mr. Rock Lobster. So there you go. After, let's say, a not-so-stellar showing for several years, you're making up for lost time. I've been derailed for the rest of the show.
Hold on. What was the trivia? What was the old trivia? It used to be 80s wrestling trivia.
80s wrestling trivia. But then I even threw in a few curveballs like Bob Villa and a few others to try to give you a chance.
Yeah, true.
And none of that panned out. Even like Maine really stuff. Like what is the state you are currently living in? Didn't get that one. But
and when he said confusion, you wouldn't take that as the correct answer.
Oh. Yes, that is true. Look at Uncle Mike throwing some barbs. Oh, getting heated. I like it. Wow. Okay, I'm derailed. What are we doing here? Oh, we're doing the trading block. That's what we're doing.
Yes,
all right. Let's get to it, listeners. Yes, the trading block. And it's another one of those days, listeners. My mantra holds true. If you don't like what's going on in the markets, just wait 5, maybe 10 minutes these days. You'll get there. We started off the day kind of decidedly mixed, looking like we were heading a little bit red. And then as the show has kicked off now, the show proper, we are back in the green. So Uncle Mike saw that and his cronies in the Facebook cabal. They said, there's a smattering of red on that screen. We don't like that. Let's get rid of that. So they bought up the Dow. Now the Dow's in line with everything else. The Dow up about 0.1%. S&P up about 0.25%. So well north of that 6K level again, and the NASDAQ up about 0.5% out there today. And then VIX Cash, our old pal, vacillating right around the 17 handle. Seems kind of glued to it for the last couple of hours out there. So VIX Cash, that still puts it down, not even a point, about 0.75 of a point from where we were this time last week. How high did we get today? About almost 17.75 earlier in the day as we were seeing a little bit of red. Now back to that 17 handle. Where we'll go from here is anyone's guess. But Mr. Rock Lobster, as our triumphant some might say deeply surprising current winner of our trivia challenge. What's catching your eye in the market, sir?
I think, I mean, you have to be realistic here. How close are we to all-time highs?
A Tosaw will have the exact percentage for you.
But, you know, what are we, 6,100?
6147, so we are roughly 130 points away. And
I'm just, you know, is any of the problems is government spending going down? No. Huge deficit bill. All this tariff thing, we're going to have probably 10% tariffs on all goods, it looks like. All the noise, but eventually we're going to, so that, you know, I guess people are trying to make better deals, but that's pretty much going to be the accepted number, it feels like. And then Ukraine, I think, you know, now that the Ukrainians could drone strike the Russians, maybe things change a little bit. Maybe Putin wants to maybe not keep doing this. So my question is, nothing's solved. Like, you know, maybe things are kind of working in a direction, but certainly not solved. VIX is still almost 17, considering we're 100 points from all-time highs, which feels kind of high. It's not normally what happens. Usually volatility is making lows as the market creeps to new highs. But we're still rallying on, you know, the biggest bowl of hopium ever, I think. Now, that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is inflation seems to be receding for whatever reason. Government cut payrolls. Employment, we were adding jobs. Unemployment's 4.2%. And the two biggest AI stocks that I can think of, providers like Broadcom and Nvidia, are still out there, you know, pushing their numbers to the limit. So the AI story, you know, again, technology growth, everybody thinks that, you know, a lot of people are going to lose, I'm sure they will lose jobs over AI. Some people learn how to use it and make, you know, new companies. I don't know how it's all going to go down. But the market likes the growth stuff ultimately. And, you know, if from an economic point of view, if this is the worst it gets, if things get better, Congress is less stupid. But the bond market ultimately tells Congress what to do, and the Fed. And we're going to be at all-time highs again because the AI story, which propelled us here, and partly this Doge thing a little bit, which I guess it's helping to some degree. But everything got real quiet over there in the Doge area ever since Trump and Musk had their dust up, and now I think they're back together again. So a lot of theater. But ultimately, it was just another reason to buy the SPX at 5,000, just like it was in August or July. So I think from a market point of view, I would like to see VIX lower. But since we are a 2% drop on any tweet, we're going to keep with that 30-day straddle around $200 in the SPX. And it can get lower, but man, it's gonna take some effort. I guess some CPI numbers will help this week, but for the most part, nobody believes the Fed's really going to cut anytime soon, and I think that's where it is. So, at least for right now, buy stocks.
Buy stocks on that mega bowl of hopium, says the Rock Lobster out there. Let's keep rolling out to the current cellar dweller in our 80s trivia challenge. The second place is for losers guy, none other than Uncle Mike Tosaw from St. Charles Wealth Management. Uncle Mike, aside from buying up this market and turning it green, what else is catching your eye, sir?
Well, hey, just so you guys know, for 2025, I have locked in the silver medal in the trivia contest.
Yes. I know you are a silver guy, so that does resonate with you a little bit.
For sure, for sure. So that's the bright side of it. But with that being said, Yeah, we are roughly 150 points away from new all-time. I'm sorry, 130 points away from new all-time highs. So we have a chance of making it happen today. Who knows? But I don't think we'll get quite that many buyers today. But we are having that. Inflation, I think, is definitely also needs to be a concern. We're not getting a major rash of bond buyers in any way, shape, or form. Also, silver's continuing to make some more highs. Just looking at SLV, 33.38 today, and we're continuing to go higher in the silver world. Gold's right off of its all-time highs, so there's a lot of interest in the precious metals right now, which is concerning for inflation. And when that happens, typically the Fed's not going to be too keen on lowering rates. So it is what it is, and we are where we are. With that, a few stocks with which are catching my eye on the radar screen today. With Nvidia and Palantir, they continue to race each other. Palantir went back above the 130 mark again. I think it was, I don't know if it was Thursday or Monday last week. We were complaining about how Palantir went down, but Palantir's going back up again. Now, Nvidia still has a firm lead above the 140 level, but Palantir's not going away, it looks like. So we do have that. We aren't having any major moves by any means in any of the stocks, but as of right now, with the market itself, S&P up 0.2% on the day, up 12 points. Not a ton of movement at this stage, and I think that we're going to just continue to see when the market wants to show its hand a little bit more. We are above the 6,000 level in the SPX, so we did get a close above 6,000, which 6,000 appears to be the new magnet number in the S&P, and we'll see if we can break the magnet to the upside for all of us bulls out there. And that's what I'm seeing right now.
Let's see what the rest of the options world is seeing today, shall we, listeners? Let's get on out to VIX land first. Is VIX lighting the world on fire? Is it roaring out of the gate? I think you can probably guess from what's going on in the index action and the fact that VIX is kind of vacillating around the 17 handle. That not a lot. That said, 375, it's about 100,000 more than we've been seeing lately this time of the day. So in context, it's actually not that bad. The ADV, when you see that, 687, that certainly looks a lot better. We're definitely on track to at least contest that, something that we haven't done in a while in VIX land, which is actually hit the ADV. What's the big dog out there today? 25,000 of the SEP 20 puts. That's an interesting strike out there. And a lot of people talking about, 17, 18, maybe if you're crazy like the Rock Lobster, 16 puts. And those are nearer data, not going all the way out to SEP. Take a guess right now, listen. What do you think the SEP 20 puts, a meaty puts with some time on it, is going for out there? What's your guess? 3, 2, 1. Did you say $2.38? Then you are the winner chicken dinner. I was thinking somewhere around 2.25, maybe up to 2.5. So I guess I was right in that ballpark there. So the old market making skills are still there, listeners. But yeah, it looks like it went up as part of a spread. So we got all kinds of fun going up out there today, listener. But the big dog is indeed the SEP 20 puts, followed by number 2, 19,000 of the July 40 calls. I'm just trying to find the other leg of that SEP. Yeah, I don't see the other leg of it. Oh, 21 puts. So we got a $1 spread. That is not as exciting as I was hoping for. Listen, it was a ratio. It looks like it was a ratio risk reversal. Went up 10,000 by 7,000 times for 88 cents. The SEP 2021 ratio. That doesn't. In hindsight, straight up SEP 20 puts though. Kind of intriguing level, whether you're into that level or not, whether it's too rich for your blood, too long for your blood or not. 238 might be a fun little flash poll. Maybe we'll do that a little bit later, listeners. As we keep on rolling right now, let's keep going in here, listeners. Out to SPY. What was going on in SPY today, listeners? The answer is about 4 million contracts, which, given what we've seen in SPY of late, is not exactly explosive. Let's see if any more has come on the tape since we first ran this a little while ago. Yeah, about 4.1 million contracts right now. So not lighting the world on fire, not even halfway to the ADV, which is right around 9 million. So Doesn't seem like it's going to hit that today, listeners. Same deal for the S, 1.62 to be precise. Million contracts on the tape for the S. The ADV, 3.5 million roughly. So closing in on halfway to that. If you get a nice flurry second half of the session, might get there. A small cap, 750 on the tape. That's pretty good, especially when you see the ADV is 1.2 million. Definitely seem like they're on pace to hit it. And then the Q's looking a little sluggish. Usually this time of the show, for a while now, we've expected at least 2.25 million, and we're not even there. 1.81 million contracts. The ADV is about exactly 4, so given how the Qs like to perform, they like to put up more of their numbers in the first half of the session than kind of gently drift the second half of the session. Doesn't seem like they're going to get there today, but you never know. We might have a rock'em sock'em second half of the session. Do we have a rock'em sock'em single names list today? Well, both yes and no. Numbers-wise, we're not blowing the world apart here. 223 to break into the top 10. That's not wild crazy town. What is wild crazy town, though? Some of the names that are joining us today. We got a little bit of the meme kids popping into the top 10 today. So that's always kind of fun. Also, Alphabet Class A. That's usually when things are sleepy. But it's sneaking in there with the meme kiddies today. What kicks us off at number 10? 223 listeners. That's a name we haven't talked about in a while. I think the last time was probably last year when it was really hot. It probably was on Oddities. This is good old ASTS, a.k.a. AST Space Mobile Inc. Ticker symbol ASTS, ASTS. If you've been around the meme kids for a while, you've known this one's been on their radar for a while out there, listeners. And it's hot, it's cold. Apparently, it's hot again today. 35.70 up $4.50 or 14.5%. It is popping hard today. If I run our check, I'm sure I will find naught but near dated, at the money and out of the money calls, and maybe some crazy far out of the money calls. Let's see. We're at a 35, now 3 3/4 just ticked. Well, I got the 38 calls expiring this week, so about what I expected. Also, the 30 puts. Looks like we got a little bit of a maybe. Could that be a strangle against the 29 halves? Hopefully you're rolling. Yeah, they're rolling those 20. It looks like they had the 29 halves about 5,000 times, and now they rolled them to the 38s, and maybe they're buying the 30 puts against it, paying $1 for the 38s, paying 29 cents for the 30 puts. They sold the 29 halves for $5.33, so I'm guessing they did all right on those bad boys because they got $1.30 to go. You probably at that point got some money to burn. You pick up some of those 30 puts just in case it falls out of bed again. Also, we got the 22 puts as well. So it looks like it was might be a bit of a iron condor. 30-20, that's wide. 30-22, why you even selling the 22s for 2 cents? What's the point of that? But aside from that, listeners, or maybe they're rolling that as maybe they had a wider one. Maybe they had 22, 29 half, and they're rolling to 30, 38. Either way, all of that going up for close to 20,000 contracts, about 18,000 contracts. And that one spread. And that puts ASTS at the number 10 spot. Number 9, keeping it with the meme kids. What's next, listeners? You know, space has been on the docket of late, a little bit contentious. The back and forth with Musk over SpaceX out there and all that fun going on out there, listeners. But outside of SpaceX, what else is hot with the meme kids in the space realm? Well, it's none other than Rocket Lab, listeners. Ticker symbol RKLB, $30.90, up about $1.97 or nearly 7% today. So a good day for Rocket Labs. They're seeing a frenzy of bullish options, as folks are saying out there. So I got a feeling if we do the quick scan, that is exactly what we will see, listeners. A lot of near dated, out of the money fun. Yeah, we're at about a 31. It's the 32 calls have gone up 13,000 times. 35 calls, all expiring this week, of course. No one goes out farther than a week these days. 12, almost 13,000 of those. Here's about 12,000 of the 35s expiring next week. So there you go, an eternity. And that's not long enough for you. We do have some 35s expiring in July as well. So a little bit of a smattering. Then back to the 31s, which are now at the monies, going up about 8,500 times. So whoever wrote that is correct. There is a smattering of quote-unquote bullish options. I think they called it a frenzy. I don't know if it's a frenzy, but enough to get them on the number 9 spot. Number 8, a usually sleepy name, but they're there again today. It's Google. You know, all this drama with them and CoreWeave and earlier I'd say maybe later last year, earlier this year with the Quantum, has added a little bit of sass, a little bit of sex appeal to what is normally boring Class A. 176 today, up about 260 or 1.5% out there. Good for number 8, 242 on the tape. Number 7, keeping it with the meme kids, it's Palantir, 131 and a third, up 3.6 bucks or nearly 3% today. So as Uncle Mike told you, clawing its way back. That sell-off last week very much hurt them in our battle between Nvidia and Palantir. So we'll reveal the results for that a little bit later in the show. But spoiler alert, wasn't great for Palantir. Number 7, 353. Number 6, the Amazonians, 404 on the tape, 216.60, up $3 exactly, or about 1.4% as well. Number 5, keeping it in A tech names, it's AMDA, 120.20, up $4 exactly, or about 3.5%. Good for the number 5 spot, 410,000 contracts. Number 4, it's Hood, selling off. They got down to $68 today, 71.68 right now, off 320 or 4.25%. I was kind of wondering about this. all this run that Palantir Hood has been on, feels like Palantir has been on recently, has all been off the rumor that some analysts said, hey, maybe they should be in the S&P 500. That was all it took, and it went on this crazy run. $55 not that long ago, got up to 75. Just, I think it was a Morgan analyst saying, hey, they should be in the S&P, and the market just took it and ran with it like it was gospel. I remember looking at that saying, that is not a done deal. Maybe I'm a crazy person. It turns out I was not. But the stock is still pretty lofty, so even the rumors, I guess they're not selling the fact hard enough today. I don't know. Either way, it's off today, nearly $4. But wild time, some of our chat talking about Hood earlier, saying if they get a little more red, maybe they wouldn't mind selling some puts on it. Yeah, it'd be interesting to discuss what levels are intriguing if you wanted to do a nibble. We were talking, doesn't seem like it was that long ago, we were talking about 40, 45 puts. And it wasn't. It was about a month ago in Palantir, or I keep saying Palantir, because it's had a Palantir-esque move over the last month. Either way, number 4, it's Hood, 480. Did you get caught up in all this S&P hoopla, listeners? Or what are your thoughts on what's going on with Hood right now? Number 3, it's the fruit company, still hanging out, pretty much glued to that par strike, $200.90, off $3 right now. So apparently WWDC, not lighting the world on fire. Apple's always been the buy the rumor, sell the fact kind of name, and it's like they're selling that fact pretty hard today. Number 3, 678. Number 2, Tesla, 296.17, up $1. I was talking to a listener on the show over the weekend, and they were saying how they're getting intrigued again by the downside in Tesla. We got to start doing the Tesla downside puts. Yeah, we do. The Flowmaster even reconfigured the old scan he built for us probably a decade ago when we were first really talking about that stuff. We had to update it because Tesla was much lower, obviously, back then. But interesting stuff for Tesla. They also pointed out with these new self-driving cars that they're running in Austin, they're taxis. And because of regulations or whatever, they have to have a person who monitors the car, so effectively a driver, and then a second, regulatory person in the car. So here you go. AI is adding jobs, listeners, because a taxi job went from 1 person to 2. So there you go. We're doubling our workforce thanks to AI. Either way, number 2, it's Tesla, 1.5 million on the tape, and the big dog, you know what it is. It's Nvidia, 142 3/4, up about $1. Seems like every day when I get my briefing, first thing when I wake up in the morning, and they always include Nvidia. And like, Nvidia, up 1%, just like clockwork of late, clawing its way up 1% every day. Good for 2.17% today. As we look out to the rest of the single name universe, is it a hot time? Well, speaking of the meme kids, they're probably all a Twitter, all a buzz about GameStop tomorrow. They are after the bell tomorrow. You also got Dave and Buster's. Everyone's all hot about GitLab. Everyone can't get enough about GitLab. Chewy, the name that kind of kicked off the meme craze, but maybe not in the way everyone thought. That their guy left Chewy and went to GameStop, and that was apparently what kind of got the ball rolling. Victoria's Secrets. Do they still have a secret left over there on Wednesday before the bell? Oracle after the bell. Oracle to me has always kind of been not the end, the semi-official end, I would say, of earnings season. Really for the big names people tend to track and keep an eye on. Once you see Oracle, you're like, okay. And then maybe your old pal, Helen of Troy. Once you see those, you're ready to start resetting for the next season, unless you're really hyped about Adobe after the bell on Friday, or Lovesac before the bell on Friday. Then we got you covered. And we always got you covered with some weird paper. It's time for the Odd Block.
It's time to break down the most interesting, unusual, and downright questionable options activity that's been identified by theoptionsinsider.com. It's time for the Odd Block.
All right, listeners, let's get weird. Let's get wild. Let's get whimsical. Let's unleash the Rock Lobster, see what he's got for us today. First, I want to kick things off, Mr. Rock Lobster. And a name you and I have talked about once or twice, including a lot of, as I recall, very tight collars on oddities in the past. We talked about this name. This is Warner Brothers Discovery, ticker symbol WBD. Popping a little bit earlier today, got up to $11. And now it's back to pretty much unched down to 987 today. So the news was bullish earlier this morning, just on the notion that they're finally going to just split this dumpster fire into two different names, Warner Brothers Discovery, and then they're going to have two different divisions, one with the TV stuff, I believe, and then trying to get rid of some of this debt that they're choking on there as well. So the market liked the news earlier this morning. Seems like it has somewhat cooled on the news now because the stock is literally unched on the year. You know, it's kind of been a tortured year if you've been listening to oddities or the occasional appearance on Odd Block for WBD. It was $8.12 a year ago, so it's still up nearly $2, 21%. But she did a lot of living in the interim. He sold off to about 6 3/4 on the big meltdown in August. Then he rallied hard post-election. December 12th, he got up to $12.70. Sold off to 9.5 again, right beginning of January, then rallied again right around early March, 11:30 or so, hung out there for a little bit, then fell out of bed on April 8th, back down to 769. And now ever since then, you've been clawing your way back up, including this recent pop up to 11:10 this morning, but giving all of it back. And Mr. Rock Lobster, it seemed like somebody was feeling a little bit of that FOMO out there today in WBD, because they came in this morning with the stock at 1097. So that's your first indication. Maybe they bought a top here. They said, oh, this stock's on fire. Got to get me some of those 11s expiring this Friday. How are they? And they got 26 cents at 32. They said, I will pay 32 cents and some more on splits to get it all done, listeners. 5,028 times. If that's not enough, Mr. Rock Lobster, we had a total of 16,000 of these bad boys going up during the day. So it is possible that maybe they were getting the heck out of Dodge or about to get run over. I'll go look right now. But what are your thoughts, first off, on this big move we're seeing starting to fizzle out here in WBD and the fact that they're now up to 17,000 of these 11 calls on the day, sir?
All I know is that particular company, like Discovery Channel, was a very well-run property. Like I think it was part of like Scripps Media. But you know, Discovery Channel, you had the Forged in Fire, you had Animal Planet, you had all, and
of course you would be a Forged in Fire guy. That seems like it's right up your alley, sir.
Yeah, I love that show. This knife will kill. Anyway, so and they merged with the Time Warner property, and they just inherited, like, I feel like they inherited the worst of like media with them. They got, I guess, the cable channels, like everything, and it was all in the maelstrom of, I don't know, whatever, but it, it has been terrible ever since then. Actually, I had bought some stock early, like thinking there was going to be a comeback, dumb me. And it was, I was back to even this morning at $11.95. I was finally up. I had like almost 400 shares. I was finally up like $100. I'm like, I'm just going to get rid of this piece of crap because it's a piece of crap. Now I'm down again. So it wasn't me buying those calls. Yeah, so you would think splitting, I think what they're probably trying to do is like, okay, we do have properties that people like, and then we have properties that are like a lightning rod, and we're just going to separate the two. And then see if we can go back to making money somehow. Maybe they put all the debt into the cable channel. Who knows? And then, spin that off to somebody. And then give shareholders, let's just see if, all the cable properties can just find a way to make money for themselves or whatever. So however that's going to go. But yeah, it did look very positive. Mostly those spin outs are kind of positive, but not this one. So all I can say is it's not a great prognosis for the company. But there are a lot of valuable properties in there if they could just find a way to get it to work. But as far as these calls go, I think they're all, it looks like they're going to, it's a lot of calls to just go worthless in one shot.
That it is, and I was checking while you were talking because now 17,000 of these things have traded. It doesn't seem like they got out. If they did vomit them, some people might have vomited them for 9 to 11 cents. If they did, they pretty much gotten run over on these bad boys because the stock never looked back. They pretty much almost bought the high. So that's going to be a bit of an ouchie, Mr. Rock. They obviously got all week, and they're going to need it now because these things are pretty much worthless. Yep. So that's what happens, listeners, when you buy the top in a weekly option and it immediately goes against you. You need it to go the other way, listeners, very quickly. And when it goes against you quickly with a weekly, that's kind of rough business. Let's see if it's rough business in our next name, listeners. This is another one talking about the meme kids kind of coming back. We're kind of beset by meme / just wild names that have been on people's radar a lot today. We talked about the ones that were lighting up our top 10, and now we're getting out here, listeners. I mean, WBD wasn't really a meme one, but it had some fun moves over the last couple of years post-merger. Now let's get out to another one we've talked about a few times. Again, a lot on oddities. This is Joby Aviation, ticker symbol Joby. And you might be familiar with the Joby that makes, tripods and stuff. This is not them. This is the VTOL manufacturer, vertical takeoff and landing. Another hot sector. It's kind of like hydrogen fuel cells. It's hot, then it's a dumpster fire, then it's hot, then it's a dumpster fire. Oh, this is promising technology. Oh, this is never going to work. Everything is going to crash and kill everybody. We see that on both of those sectors very frequently, very frequent cycles. Apparently, Joby is in the hot sector again, trading 928, up $1.14 or about 14% today. Trump signing an order on drones and aviation, and obviously Joby hoping to benefit from that largesse from the government. A year ago, they were $5 pretty much exactly, so they're up 82%, so not a bad year. Also, when you consider that they got back down to 536 or so on these big sell-off in April. They've had a nice run from then. Pretty much $4. So if you missed them a year ago, you could have scooped them again if you were a brave soul. I'm not sure how many people were, when everything was melting down around their ears. If you were scared to buy the S&P then, you're probably not diving into Joby Aviation, but for the brave souls who did, congrats. You've had a nice run, nearly 80% just since then. And Mr. Rock Lobster, what do we got in store for us today? I'm going to go out on a limb and guess it's probably some calls, and that is the case. This time going out to July. It was the July 10s that first caught our eye, listeners. We have a bit of a call palooza going up here, Mr. Rock Lobster. The July 10s first caught our notice. They got a market of 40 cents at 50. They said, I will pay 50 cents, good sir, 3,495 times. As the day has progressed, they also said, I came back and said, how about those OCT 12s? That's looking kind of spicy as well. By the way, the stock was $8.78 when they traded the 10s in July. They came back with the stock $8.99 a little while later and said, OCT 12s, how are they? They got 65 cents at 80. Once again, no messing around, lifting the offer 2,500 times. Mr. Rock Lobster, calls are all the rage in Joby. Pick your month, pick your strike. People are buying it. What say you, sir?
What I think is funny is that two companies picked the name Joby. What is that? Is the name so good? Two companies have to pick Joby as a name. Anyway, so at least as usual, I got July and October. Interesting. I think there was something on the drone technology. The drones have been flying since the Ukrainians got rid of 30% of the Russian bomber fleet with 150,000, 100,000 worth of drones or $1 million worth of drones or something. The Joby thing, yeah, is definitely interesting. There is a lot of short term, like 18,000 June 20s are going up today. Again, that's scattered volume, not block volume. So they're definitely buying it. I mean, I like the October maybe more as a trade, I feel. It doesn't look like that's really rolling action per se, just just straight up buying some calls in this stuff. I follow a couple drone stocks, Red Cat, KTOS, AVAV, that are all doing pretty well, that have been good stocks for me this year. KTOS is probably one of my favorite growth stocks, because that's essentially going to replace our aerial fleet. They're all their stuff. AVAV, I guess, too. So at a fraction of the price. So well, let's see if it actually happens, but that's what it's likely to do, it looks like to me. But anyway, I don't think these stocks are bad, and it's a question of which one starts making money and selling the most drones as soon as possible. But this one, it's still, I think, a speculative stock though. So cheap options a long term out, it's probably a better play.
I'm going to keep buying my Joby Gorilla Pods instead and stay away from the Joby VTOLs. I probably got a few of those lying around the studio here. They're useful. All right, let's keep rolling here. Let's go out to this other one we talked about, but I think it's been a little while for this one. This is Navitas, ticker symbol NVTS. We talked about this one before. 7 3/4, up $1.60 or nearly 26%. That's pretty much a 52-week high. In fact, it hit it today. 788 was a 52-week high. A year ago, they were $4.50. They sold off to $1.52 back last November. And even just back in May, they were $2, $1.91. So, my goodness. This one just on the rampage over the last couple of weeks. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably some call action near dated, and that's what we got. Expiring this week, June 7/2 for 44 cents, Mr. Rock Lobster, pretty much lifting the offer 3,100 times. What say you, sir?
Navitas? Is it NVTS or is it NVST?
It is NVTS. Don't believe the hype in the notes. It is NVTS.
Okay, all right.
Always go for the ticker of the print. I fell for that as well, sir, so don't feel bad.
Yes, chips, and other chips. Sorry about that. I was trying to I was listening to you. I go, what's I'm looking at wow, pretty aggressive call buying, but correct. I mean, the reality is you buy those calls for 44 cents and they're already trading 80 cents the same day. Somebody is riding the curious thing is, what's the news that's driving that stock up 25% today? So clearly somebody knew what was going on. And it looks like they do some things. I don't know, maybe batteries or some kind of power supply is incorporating its products. Okay, so maybe they came up with some battery magic or something like that. But clearly the market likes it, and the company actually has revenue. So there's some reality there.
You know what? There's always a harsh reality when we get to the strategy block. So let's get there now.
It's time to dispense options, wit, wisdom, and education. It's time for the strategy block.
All right, Uncle Mike, you've had all episode to stew in your juices, sir. What you got for us on the old block of strategery today?
Just thinking about how I wanted to stew in some juices. With that, what often comes up when people are looking at their overall portfolios of stocks is the importance of diversification. And I can see that, because if you are going to be in just one stock, theoretically, then you could be good, could be bad. It's kind of a coin flip. And then the concept of diversification is that you have investments in many different stocks, and then the chances of not having it be really bad become less, theoretically. Now, with that being said, what I'd like to emphasize today is not just diversification in stocks, but diversification in strategies as well. For example, let's say that within your stock portfolio, there's some stock exposure to where you want to be buy and hold. I've said this on the show many times. Buy and hold means buy and hold. People who bought and hold Apple at a much, or Microsoft or stocks like that at a much lower level are doing pretty good right now for those that got in 15, 20 years ago. However, there's also a spot to where you could do other things. If you were to just put 100% of all of your holdings into a buy and hold stock portfolio, all of a sudden you're a year away from retirement and the market comes down. Let's say we have another year like 2022 and we go down 20%, or heaven forbid, a year like 2008 where we go down 40%. Your retirement just got postponed 10 years if you're in 100% buy and hold stocks. Now, the other way with which to look at it is that you could have diversification on asset classes, maybe some money in stocks, some money in bonds, or some money in cash, and maybe some precious metals, something like that. I believe that's important too. What I want to emphasize today is the importance of diversification within the stocks that you own. For example, let's say that you do have exposure to stocks, then I believe it's important to have some type of exposure to covered calls within your stock portfolio. Now, where to do it, whether it's in the IRA or outside the IRA, that's a topic for another day. But I think it's important to have that because of the fact that if you do have a sideways market, then that is a strategy that will win in a sideways market, and that would be covered calls. Also, if we have a bull market, then you can still be profitable in doing that. You'll trail the overall upside most likely, but it's still important to have some type of exposure there. I also believe it's important to have some type of exposure to hedged equity. Hedged equity can outperform fixed income if you have a runaway bull market. I think that's another important asset class to have. Now, the other thing within stocks, you can argue, should you have all your money in large caps, some of it in large caps, some of it in small caps, some of it in mid caps? That's also a topic for another day, but I do think it's important to have some exposure in a little bit of everything along those lines. But the main point that I want you to take away from today is within your stock portfolio, diversification is very important, not just with the holdings with which you have, but also with the strategies that you have, because the market can dictate things a lot more than a lot of people think it can. And that is the strategy block for today.
And now it's time to keep on rolling and go around the block.
It's time to tell you what we'll be watching on our trading screens until the next episode. It's time for Around the Block.
All right, everybody, welcome to Around the Block. As we're coming into the end of the show, how are we hanging out here in the markets? Mostly pretty similar to where we were at the start of the show. Dow up a little more, up about almost 1/3%. S&P still up about 0.3%. NASDAQ up almost 0.5%, about 0.45%. And VIX cash still close to the 17 handle, about a 1690. So not that dissimilar from where we were when we commenced operations here on the show. Let's check in really quickly our questions of the week, and also a fun flash poll inspired by what we were talking about on the show just went live a few minutes ago. First off, we were debating with Mr. P on Options Bootcamp last week the concept of apocalypse assets, and could you even use your Bitcoin just to buy meat from the vendor at the stand in a post-apocalyptic world with no electricity, no cell service. Your Bitcoin wallet might be a little bit hard to access. So we were debating that on that show, which brought us to our question of the week this week. Kind of a fun one. Quite simply, what is the best apocalypse asset? We gave you gold or precious metals or diamonds and some precious stones, some hard assets, or the aforementioned Bitcoin, or perhaps the ultimate hard asset, bullets in an apocalypse. Right now, maybe we do have a bit of a dark skewing audience. 61% of you going that way, so you liking the bullets. 27.8% saying gold, 11.1% for Bitcoin. No love for precious stones. Kind of interesting. And then we also put this out just a few minutes ago, inspired by some of that VIX paper we saw today. We said, hey, those SEP 20 puts trading for around 240. Would you be a buyer or a seller of those? And right now, exactly 80% of you want to sell those bad boys. Only 20% want to buy out there. Speaking of polls, our Nvidia poll just ended right as we were doing the show, the one Uncle Mike's been watching. And as I said earlier in the show, the little bit of a dust up in Palantir really colored this one. When we did it last time, it was exactly 50.0 to 50.0. It's the first time you've ever had a poll go out exactly even. So we had to do it again. This time, the stocks, they were both around, one was around 138, one was around 132. Second we posted that, Palantir started falling out of bed. By the end of the week, I think that gulf had doubled, if not more, to $12 or if not larger. So that kind of hurt Palantir. Nvidia ended up taking it 60.4%, 39.6% for Palantir out there, listeners. So interesting stuff. Get in there, make your voices heard on our questions of the week right now. As we see, Uncle Mike, sir, what are you keeping an eye on till our next show on Thursday?
6,000. Seeing if we can hold the 6,000 mark. Seeing where we're at with that. I don't think we're going to be getting any major bond buyers anytime soon. And the reason I feel that way is because we are getting a lot of major precious metal buyers, at least in the silver space, and continuing to monitor that to see if we can make some new 10-year highs in the shiny silver.
Mr. Rock Lobster, what are your thoughts? What are you keeping an eye on? Are you also voting for bullets? Our chat makes a good point. If you shop with bullets, you get a 100% discount. And what are you keeping an eye on until your next appearance, sir?
Well, I think the proper answer would be silver bullets.
There you go. Combining it all in one.
Double hedge. We have some employment numbers coming out. And also just the market starting to look, I hate to say it, but Trump's in office. We definitely had bits of volatility with him, but we also had extended periods of calm. So, I mean, the reality is it can happen. That's all I'm going to say. If there's some improvement overall in a couple of places, you can make a bullish case because we have a very new and exciting technology that nobody even knows what to do with yet. So generally, stocks like that. And for whatever reason, the market is adjusting to the new Donald and Elon Musk relationship. So, hey, and if it's going up, don't get in the way. Don't keep trying to, you could be picking a top in the S&P 500 for the last 100 years. And not easy to do.
Don't be like Dr. VIX and continually shorting the market. Speaking of which, make sure you join us tomorrow in the Pro for that battle. Dr. VIX versus VIXologist. There can be only one. Who will emerge the victor? We shall find out tomorrow, listeners. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have on the network, or I should say on the show today. Back on the network in a little bit for the crypto rundown. In fact, we'll do it immediately after the show. So you folks hanging out in the Pro, you get an extra early bonus of the crypto rundown. But before we go, Mr. Uncle Mike, sir, where should folks go if they want more Uncle Mike goodness in their lives?
Well, you can go to my website, stcharleswealth.com, or you can follow me on Twitter, follow me on LinkedIn. I try to put out content. And if you are looking for a financial advisor who delves in the option product, if appropriate for clients, look me up in those mediums.
And Mr. Rock Lobster, sir, where should folks go if they want more Rock Lobster goodness in their lives?
If they want more Peggy Fleming trivia, come to 888-TRADE-01, optionpit.com. We've been teaching people how to trade options now for, high on 15 years.
We'll say you pulled the nugget out with that Peggy Fleming. So if you want more Rock Lobster trivia goodness, make sure to check him out on the option block every Monday. And of course, in the land of the pit, wherever you find various pit goodness. That's going to do it for us on the network. I keep saying that. That's not going to do it for us on the network today. Listen, that's going to do it for us on the option block today. Back again in a few minutes, right in your ear holes for all of our pro friends, for a little bit of the old crypto rundown. Back again tomorrow for some wild goodness on the network tomorrow, listeners. We've got, what do we have in store for us out there? Well, kicking things off, because why not, listeners? out there in the land of Europe, going across the pond yet again with the European market brief. And then if that was not enough, listeners, we're coming back hot and heavy for our pro members joining us on the live. If you also have some vol questions, if there's time between the heated debate, we'll try to squeeze those in as well. Remember, those questions only for our pro members, theoptionsinsight.com/pro. Also the only place you can join live and listen to that show. So check it out. It's going to be a good one. Then back again with our usual array of content till we're back again on Thursday with the Flow Master. Another episode of the Option Block. Stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.